gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Southern Country. Hi, I'm Herb Southern. Welcome to the show, my friends. On this show, I'm very happy to say I have Columbia recording artist Shelly Fairchild. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good to meet you and good to see you.
Good to be here.
I've seen you a couple times perform, and I'm happy to have you on the show.
Well, I appreciate you asking.
Let's talk about Ride, your debut album.
Let's talk about it.
How about some of the songs on there? Such as, you could, like I've listed some of them here, start talking about some of the songs, what kind of music we can find on that album.
Wow. Well, like it's called Ride, so it sort of takes you on a pretty decent ride, I think. It starts off with a song that I wrote with another girl back in Nashville, and it's called Kiss Me.
Okay.
It's a real sassy kind of Delta. You know, I'm from Mississippi.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
it's got a lot of blues influence, and I grew up in the 80s, so there's a little rock influence. And I mean, I grew up, the very first few tapes I ever owned were country, so it was inevitable that I'd be a country music singer. So so it's a lot of those little influences in there. We've got Kiss Me, You Don't Lie Here Anymore was my first song on the radio.
Absolutely, I heard it. I played it on the show already.
That's what you said that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I wrote that one with two guys in Nashville, and it's done. A lot of people have complimented me on that song, and so that's exciting. And Tiny Town is really it's my newest song that's on the radio and video that's out, and it's really about the story of my life. I mean, my mom and I are really close, and my whole family, and they like to have me around, and I just am on the road a lot, so I had to write a song to sort of say thank you for raising me right.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. How about Ride, the title one?
And Ride.
Yeah,
well,
Ride.
I got my motorcycle license a year ago.
I read that too.
Yeah,
I have mine.
You do?
Yeah,
what do you
ride
have?
a Harley. You got it.
And I actually, Harley Davidson is very nice to me. They endorse me with some clothes, and they're going to put my record when it comes out May 3rd in their stores and stuff. So it's a great company. So I found this song, and it's just about, I mean, it says I want to ride to the edge of the world, you know. Somebody asked me one time, because it talks about Free Bird.
Yeah, right.
So,
and
then listening to Merle. So as if I'm listening to the radio, right? And somebody said, "Can you even do that? Is that legal?" And I'm like, "Okay, they make motorcycles now with DVD players in them. I mean, so yes, that can be done." So anyway, that's Ride, and golly, I love the songs on this record. You know.
How many did you put actual pen to help write them, or co-write, or
4? There are 11 tracks. 11. I don't have 11 fingers, but there are 11.
There we go. We got 11 now.
And I co-wrote 4 of them.
Okay.
So that was really exciting for me.
Cool. What's the common thread between all those songs? Is there a common thread where it follows through, or just a variety of different songs?
I think there's a pretty common thread. I mean, I think the fact that I'm pretty young, and like, you know, what do you call it? Spunky, sassy, energetic, you know. So there's I think there's a good that's apparent. And you know, the fact that I love to be in love, I mean, that's sort of apparent, and that I'm a Mississippi girl, that's really apparent. So I think the common thread would be just that I'm really passionate about life.
You had some of the best songwriters in Nashville help you out on this album. They contributed to this. Is that a standard procedure for a new artist like yourself?
You know, I hear that I got lucky. I hear that I really got lucky. Well, I'll tell you the truth. I mean, if you look at a lot of new artists, you know, Miranda Lambert and Katrina Elam, and, you know, Lauren Lucas is a new artist. Sugarland, I mean, Sugarland kind of, they write their own stuff. Really, they're just great together. But a lot of new artists have been fortunate enough to write with some of the big writers, Rivers Rutherford, and, you know, Stephanie Smith and I wrote together, and she's written on several new artist records. So I think that if the songwriters know that the record label is really behind an artist, and if they really like the artist, then they just offer. So it's really, I got lucky, you know. So
when you write, do you have to be politically correct? You have to be politically in a song? Probably not.
Sort of, but you know, I mean, I try to be, I don't know, politically correct. I try to be respectful.
There you go.
At all times.
There you go.
Honest to God, I try to be respectful at all times. But politically correct, I don't know. I mean, I'm young. I don't.
That's it.
Sometimes it's like you just throw that out of the way. It's like I mean, I try to be truthful.
Sure, why not? Be honest with the people. Write what's on your mind, right or wrong. I read that your voice conveys the blues of your Mississippi Delta home. You have a soulful power of a passionate woman and edgy style that conveys confidence of a small-town girl. This describes you as a singer?
Yeah, I guess. Okay. I guess as a singer. And
how do you find songs that you can put all that into a song? That's kind of all those, whatever I just said.
You know what? There are some great songs out there that have never lived on any records. They're back being shelved away, right, that are from some pretty passionate songwriters. Oh, yeah, I mean, you've got the Anthony Smiths of the world, Jeffrey Steele, yeah, you know, and myself, I've had things in me that I've wanted to say for a long time, so I get together with somebody who I think is just as passionate as I am, and we start writing, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you never know.
So hopefully in my writing you see that it's just honestly me, and the songs that we pick, it really wasn't that hard. Okay. There are some great songs out in the world.
I'm sure there are, and there's some good writers too.
Yep.
I know, I'll quote you now, I know I have a lot of edge to my voice, but I've always considered myself a country singer. What's edge mean?
Well, like I said, you know, I grew up in the 80s, so is that rude to point? I'm being not politically correct.
I'm just teasing you, that's all.
I grew up in the 80s, so it's like I listened to hair bands and Pat Benatar and the Pretenders and Heart and Aerosmith and Bon Jovi. And so I think my edge comes with, I'm not afraid to say some things, you know, that are either sexy or, you know, not overtly, but just sort of little silly little things. And there's a little Janis Joplin in there.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think that's where the edge comes from.
Are there any, can you recall in the past or present that there's any other artists that have that edge, similar edge to you, that you have? Or you want to consider yourself one of a kind?
Well, I'd love that, but I think I'm not the first person. I mean, right now, you know, we've got like Gretchen Wilson out there kicking behind.
Big time.
And she's not scared to just run all over the place with her, you know, incredible voice. And
I know.
So we've got
other edgy people.
Other edgy people too, you know. So
you have a dynamic stage presence, but you haven't been on this singing is not the first time you've been on the stage. You've been an actress.
Yeah. You're well read.
3 movie auditions, huh?
I have. I just left LA last week.
Janis Joplin, you just mentioned her.
Wow. Well, it was a role that Julie Taymor, who is an incredible director, producer, wrote a story that follows the characters that are in Beatles songs. Okay. So it's not actually about the Beatles, but it's a musical movie, and it's temporarily called All You Need Is Love, but it's untitled, really. Right. But and the character that I read for, her name was Sadie. So she was Sexy Sadie was one of the Beatles songs, and there were Sadie and Prudence and Lucy and Sgt. Pepper and Jude and, you know, all these different characters. And it's really interesting to think that they really lived, you know, that the Beatles were writing about specific people and that they could have all intertwined their lives, and that's what the story's about. So I read for Sadie. I don't know the outcome yet.
Okay, how about June Carter Cash, Walk the Line?
Oh, gosh.
That's a hard pair of shoes to fill.
I know it. I read for that movie, and I was so nervous. I had to put myself on tape, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, if I get this movie, this is history to make.
Big time history.
I know. I didn't get it.
Okay, how about Dukes of Hazzard? What did you do for
them? Oh, yeah.
What did you do for them? Come on, tell us. Daisy?
I was one of the no, it wasn't Daisy. They had already cast Jessica Simpson. Okay. But I was one of the love interests for either, I had to read for 2 different girls. One was Bo Duke's love interest, and one was Luke Duke's love interest. So
that's cool. How about always Patsy Cline, local production at home?
Well, back in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm from Clinton, Mississippi. Yeah, I know. But Jackson is the nearest to us, and there's a professional theater there.
Sure.
And it's called New Stage Theater. And when I was 19, they asked me to audition for the role of Patsy, and always Patsy Cline. And 27 songs later, I learned that and got the role. And
do you sing any of them in your stage show?
No, not yet. Okay. But you know, it's tough because Mandy Barnett is an incredible singer, and she did the show in Nashville and then toured it, and is incredible. So she's a hard act to follow. I try not to. I'll do it. I'll start doing a Patsy Cline
song.
Get there. I don't know which one.
How about Beehive?
Oh, yeah.
The 60s musical review.
Probably one of my favorite. Patsy Cline was my favorite, and Beehive was my second favorite. I was Petula Clark and Connie Francis and Brenda Lee and Grace Slick. So it was a parody of the girl groups of the 60s. So
you did a good job.
I had a huge, we wore huge beehives. Yeah, right. And then Connie Francis had this big swooping, everything was exaggerated.
Yeah, right. That was cool. How about you did Grease, Godspell?
did Godspell.
Yeah.
I was Robin. I
Yeah.
did Grease. I was Rizzo. There are worse things I could do.
I tell you what. Before we go on, how about putting a video in? Which one do you want?
Are
You pick it.
you going to do both of them?
We're doing both.
Okay.
Of them. What I want you to do is put the video in, but say something about it that nobody will ever know when you tape that video on location. Something happens.
Something happened
Something
there?
unusual. Which one you want to put in? Because you have to do them both. So.
Okay. Well, You Don't Lie Here Anymore is my first pick.
There you go. Let's talk about it, though. What happened unusual on it? Anything happened?
Well, it was my first video to do ever. So we show up, and and the director, her name is Kristen Barlow, and she's a friend of mine. She'd done my photo shoot for my record. So when you see those pictures, when you all go by the record, and you see those pictures, you'll know who did that. She and I talked about doing these mattresses, like having a room full of mattresses because of the double entendre. You like that word?
Yeah, that's a heavy word for me. You know that, don't you?
You don't lie here anymore. And so, the director from the record label was like, or the artist development director was like, that seems a little insane. Like you're going to be in a straitjacket in a padded room. I go, no, I think it's a good idea. And so Kristen Barlow, we call her Barlow. She, the day of the shoot, we just showed up. She had already said, okay, well, never mind, we won't do the mattresses, or maybe I'll have them out there and let's just look at them. So we showed up, and every wall was like covered in these mattresses. And so, but it was weird because you couldn't. It didn't look padded. It just looked like textured, and they were all different colors. And so some people it takes them a while to get that. And it was interesting. This old house had been abandoned from like '79, and it was out in like Watertown, Tennessee, and it was just incredible. The floor was great. The walls had all the pictures from when the house was closed down. Still, like the Last Supper. You know all those pictures, like in old houses that has like the Last Supper. It was really cool.
Really good stuff, huh?
Yep.
You are high energy on stage, and I've seen you twice already. You're high energy, and it comes through to me that you really love to perform, and you get the crowd moving a lot. That's true,
good.
Right? You have a great quality to do that.
Thank you.
You know, they sing along with you.
They do?
Yeah, they have
They're
a good
starting
time.
to, because they're starting to recognize the songs. I can't wait for May 3rd for the record to come out.
Yeah, right there. Let's mention May 3rd.
May 3rd?
That's it.
No, 3, not 6.
No, May 3rd. The 5th month, the 3rd day.
The 5th month, the 3rd day,
There
May
you
3rd.
go.
Right, the record is going to be in stores all over the place, and I can't wait, because part of what I love is that they are familiar, and I'm on the road right now, touring around, and I'm opening for some incredible artists, and I sit and watch the shows, and the whole audience is singing. I mean, country music fans are the best.
They love them.
We sing, I mean, I say we because I'm one of them. We sing along to the music, every song. It's like, you're not scared. So that's what I'm hoping that happens.
Your songs speak of real life issues and down home values. Most people can relate to that, huh?
Yeah.
I think so. Of course they do that. I've read all the bios about you and everything, and the word swampy came up. Why is this? What it says? I have this swampy and bluesy side, sexy and swampy. I don't know what kind of word.
Mississippi, man.
Yeah, I've never been there.
Oh, bragger.
Well, that's as close to Mississippi as I get.
Yeah, well, no.
And the street goes right to the ocean, so there's no,
Well, you actually, where I grew up, there are no swamps, but the Mississippi Delta is pretty swampy.
Is it? Okay.
And so you have to go there, but it's the style, it's the home of the blues. It's just the style of music and the mentality. I mean, I've listened to Mississippi Fred McDowell. I mean, some underground crazy blues, artists and writers, and it's in my soul, it's in my blood.
Time for Tiny Town. Talk to me about it.
Oh, Tiny Town.
Something happened while you were taping.
Tiny Town was a tough one, because I have to say that it was very emotional, because it's something I live with all the time. I talk to my mom on the phone every day, and there are major things that come up, babies born and birthdays and anniversaries and sadly enough, but deaths and things that I'm out of town or I'm working, and there are a few things that I've just not been able to make, and I've just been upset and cried, and so when we made the video, Trey Fanjoy was the director, and she's a very great director, and she and I were sitting on the bus, and there's one part in the very beginning where I'm talking on the phone to my mom, and it really was a reenactment of what my life is like.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
so I started crying, and it's so weird because if you told me to cry on cue,
You couldn't do it, right.
typically I can't do it.
Right, sure.
But I really, and that's part of acting too, is that you really find that real emotion and find a story of some place you've been before. And for really the first time, I was able to go, this is what it feels like to really feel this emotion, and kind of on cue.
Yeah, right, sure.
And so that was really interesting.
A monumental moment in your career has been the Opry appearance, I'm sure.
Yes.
It has to be in everybody's career.
Well, somebody asked me if I thought that it was fair that being so new that I got to go on the Opry so early, and I just said, you know what? It's like, out of all the business and all the things that you go the roller coaster of being sad about and disappointed and whatever and happy or whatever, it's like you walk in there and it's your family. You've been welcomed to this family because everybody loves you and they're just so happy to be there, and there's not judgment. I mean, they're just like, this is the Grand Ole Opry, and obviously if you're here, you are supposed to be here.
Yeah, sure, why not?
It was a great.
How about you heard your music on Regis and Kelly, huh?
Yeah.
The Ride, and MTV played you too already, huh?
I know,
yeah,
and I keep pointing at you.
That's good. You can do anything you want to do.
And I just found out that my mom called me and she said 17 magazine is out, and I just went to the store. Your aunt called me and told me that there's a CD sampler in there and your song's on there. You don't lie here anymore, which is cool because it's mainly like pop artists or hip hop or whatever, and I'm the only country artist.
Where were you, talking about music on the radio, where were you when you first heard You Don't Lie Here Anymore on the radio? For the first time, not knowing that was being played, just you traveling along in your travels.
I was in, where was I? Not knowing that it was going to be played?
Yeah, not knowing.
Okay.
Yeah, not
well, the
set
first
up,
time,
right.
it was kind of set up.
Right.
And the next time, I was in Louisville, Kentucky, and I was sitting in the truck with my managers, and we were talking about a sound issue or something for a show we were about to do. And I looked on the, I have to say, it's XM radio. It wasn't a radio station, but it was satellite radio. Yeah. On XM, and I saw my name scroll across his screen. We were just talking and talking and busy, and I go, wait a minute. And they were like, what? My name's on, turn it on. And so it was You Don't Lie Here Anymore. Playing on the radio.
You're a cosmetologist by trade?
I am.
Yeah.
Tammy Wynette had her license till the day she died.
There it is, Tammy Wynette.
Tammy Wynette had her license. And it's every 2 years you have to pay $50 to keep it up.
Worth it. You have to go for a course again and refresh yourself on a new.
No.
How about you? What's some fragrances? You create a memorable fragrance, is that?
Did I create one?
Yeah, or you're creating one or something? No.
Oh no.
No. Okay. You're self-professional. You're self-professional.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
What?
Are you talking about an article that was in the magazine?
Yeah. Yeah, I had the article here. Well, I don't know where. I must be in my car. It's Country Weekly.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a whole page of you. I just read it today. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't I'm not going to patent anything, but I just have a regimen of lotion and perfume that I wear that I think smells good. And it may not smell good, I don't know.
I'm not minding it a bit. I've been sitting next to you for a half hour. Website.
Okay.
Website.
www.shellyfairchild.com is one. There are two.
Oh, okay.
That one is the record label takes care of that one.
Sure.
So it's like the major site.
Right.
And then I have my own. It's www.shellyfairchild.net.
Okay.
And, that one will be updated. Eventually we'll have like photos of the road and probably a little journal and stuff. Right now it's pretty basic, but.
We're going to wrap the show up with which one we want to put in now, which video we want to put in for the.
Again?
Yeah.
I think You Don't Lie Here Anymore. No?
No, I'm just.
Tiny Town.
You put it in, whichever you want.
Tiny Town's the newest. Let's do Tiny Town. Tiny Town again.
Before we wrap up,
you're
going to New York again pretty soon.
I am.
Tell us about where you're going.
Tell you about where I'm going?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Okay, I just read an article of a guy that was in a band called Maroon 5.
Okay.
That he said that it was a question of when in your career did you really feel like you had made it? Mm-hmm. And he said the night that his band Maroon 5 was on David Letterman.
Yeah.
And I get to do David Letterman May 17th. It's the night of the ACMs.
Okay.
Coming up, and it's just in a few weeks.
I know, it's right down the road.
It's going to be like that.
Bam, it's going to be over too, but
you think he'll talk to me?
Who?
Letterman.
That's what he looked to.
But usually with musicians, he just lets them go on at the end.
Well, I don't stay up that late, so I don't want to.
Are you going to stay up and watch me?
Maybe
Yes.
I'll consider it. Leo, you'll tape it for me. Leo will tape it for
okay.
me.
That's right, you get up early.
Yeah, I got to do the show.
Okay.
Hey, thank you very much for being on the show. I appreciate having you here, sweetheart.
It was a
Take
joy.
care.
Thank you so much.
Take care very much.
Absolutely.
Continued success in your career.
Thank you.